So, hi, this is Pamela from Animal Justice Emergency. And it's been a little while, and that's because of the whole COVID-19 thing that's kicked off. And to be honest, it just kind of like knocked me for six. And I didn't get ill, but I was just sort of overwhelmed with everything. So maybe some of you felt like that as well. So, what I found was that made me kind of a bit demotivated about everything. And now I'm kind of got a bit of my mojo back, and I wanted to talk about COVID-19 and how it can be affecting the way that we talk about animal liberation, because I've seen some stuff in vegan land online, social media, and it's sort of saying, should we actually be talking about COVID-19 in the vegan context? And I'm not sure, but maybe there's a sense that it's such a huge, serious problem that everybody is facing that maybe we can't actually step into the conversation and talk about the connection that there has been to animals, and how this virus is one of the many viruses that basically developed in other animals, other species, and basically then jumped the animal-human barrier because of the close confinement and use of the animals, basically eating by human animals. So I saw a very interesting video by Dr. Michael Greger, who actually his previous job was an epidemiologist, and he had a fascinating video in 2008 talking about the way that viruses can transmit from animals to humans. And he was very much, this is all because of the animal death industry, the animal so-called agriculture industry, the close confinement, the gigantic numbers of other animals that are all put together, short lifespans, and the close contact with human animals. It's a fascinating video. So in this context, and obviously people have also been talking right from the start about the wet market in China and the sort of like the bat transmission, potentially bat pangolin transmission to humans. And so again, who knows at this point? Maybe we'll know, maybe we won't know. So as an ethical vegan who believes in basically advocating for animal liberation because it's the right thing to do, I think in terms of talking about the COVID-19 thing as partly transmitted or developed in animals and then transmitted to human animals, I think we should join in that conversation. And the reason I think that is because I remember years ago, before I was actually vegan, when I was an environmentalist, and I used to be a member of a group called Friends of the Earth, who probably a lot of you know. I used to take it all very seriously, I still do, but I'm not a member of any of these kind of groups anymore. And this is one of the reasons why, because I remember one time, it was maybe over 10, 15 years ago, there was they sent out a notification to their members about not eating sea animals, not eating fish. I was not vegan at that point. And it was like this massive list, about 3 pages long. And it had like an A, B or C rating to show how endangered the species were. And I remember seriously going through this list, being happy and thrilled to notice that mackerel, which I ate a lot, were less apparently endangered, and things like tuna, or beings like tuna, which I didn't actually eat much of, were more endangered. So I felt I could make a really well-informed choice to save the fish and save the marine environment by changing the kind of fish, or, not eating tuna, which, as we all know, is absolutely bonkers. Now, the thing is this: why did Friends of the Earth not say at any point, just stop eating fish? That is the logical thing to do. None of this shilly-shallying, like with massive sort of like research sort of data, list of fish. Why did they not just say, stop eating fish? Because otherwise you're just still part of the problem. Well, they didn't say it because they didn't want to, quote unquote, alienate people, their supporters. And I think this is where we are with the whole sort of like COVID-19 thing. It's not about, the the terror of some vegans is about alienating people, where the reality is a lot of people are just going to be automatically alienated by whatever we say because we're challenging the dominant culture and the reality of the world that they live in. And that's going to alienate them. Now, it may or may not be the only response that they have, but a lot of people, just by coming up with the concept of animal rights, and that animals have as much of a right to be here as we do, we animals too, they're going to be alienated by that. Now, they may go on to think about it, maybe do some research. There may be a knock-on effect of them thinking, maybe the second, the third, the fourth time, the fifth time, the 50th time that they hear about this thing, that they want to change their behaviour, or they may not. But the reality is people will be alienated because it challenges their power, it challenges their human supremacist position. So what I think I've learnt from that is that with the whole COVID-19 thing, we are adult human beings and we are living in a world of adult human beings. And had somebody back in the day said to me, well, you would actually be better off not eating, if you're a serious environmentalist, you would be better off not eating any fish at all because whatever, I might have been alienated, yeah. I might have been upset, yeah. I might have taken the opportunity to think about it, yeah. Maybe immediately, maybe not immediately. I, as an adult human being, would be able to have an adult human being response. And I think that's what we would be providing, or we will be providing, with the whole COVID-19 animal to human, stop using other animals, transmission sort of thing. It's an adult to adult conversation about the realities and the impacts of the way that we live our lives. If we continue to use other animals in this absolutely horrendous way at all, this is the sort of thing that we can get. And it's not about nature's revenge or anything like that. I think that's a really problematic way of framing it. It's just the way things happen, and it's horrific. And how bad does it have to get? How bad does it have to get before the message gets through? Now, some people will take the message on board, perhaps. Perhaps some people will think about it, and some people will dismiss it. Fair enough. But I feel that as vegans, it is our absolute duty, really our duty to the animals and the duty to the human animals as well, to get the message out in the same way that Dr. Michael Greger did. And I think there's been some other work as well that I've seen that says the same sort of thing. And, that's it. Yes, I get that people are overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. As I said, that's why I've been sort of like out of commission for a while. I get that a lot of people are overwhelmed and stressed, but maybe if people are feeling overwhelmed and stressed, maybe they will feel more challenged if people say, oh, well, not using animals is the way forward. They may feel that. Some of them may feel empowered. Some of them have got a lot of time to think about things. Some of them may be looking for answers. There are no guarantees in this life, as we all know. And there are no guarantees about the way that we talk about animal rights, animal liberation, or veganism. All we can do is give it our best shot. And I think that if we don't talk about the animal connection in terms of COVID-19, we are really, as I said, betraying the animals and betraying the human animals as well. So that's my thought back on this, I think it's day 11 or day 12 of lockdown. I'd like to know what you think. Agree, disagree? Yeah. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention today. And this is Pamela from Animal Justice Emergency. And together we can stop the war on animals.